My job is really about empowering the activities of local people who discover in themselves a desire to take action around ending world hunger, both through their own personal financial resources and then through speaking to their communities and getting their companies involved. So we have a really small staff team that works out of an office in Sydney, but we have activities around the country, and we have a board of directors who I report to. And I also do stuff globally. I'm on different teams and work closely with some of the countries that we work in. So it's a varied approach.
Great. What makes the Hunger Project different from other organisations that also deal with world hunger and poverty?
There's a few differences. One is that we have a what's the word? Total blank.
That's
Can you ask
okay.
me the question again?
Yeah.
No, there's a special word. Oh, yeah. So can you ask me the question?
Yeah. So
because I do know this answer.
What makes the Hunger Project different from other organisations that also deal with world hunger and poverty?
We deal with lots of different parts of the issue of hunger. So sometimes people think that hunger is an issue of food, or that maybe the UN needs to get into it. Couple of our biggest points of difference is working. We believe that hungry people themselves are the main solution to ending their own hunger. So rather than there being a billion mouths to feed, we really see that there's a billion human beings whose entrepreneurial energy, their creativity, their capacity to work hard can be unlocked and channeled in a way that they are taking the actions that feed themselves and their family. And one of the biggest things around that is shifting the mindset for people so that they move from thinking God has deserted us or it's always been like this into actually I can take a key role in ending world hunger. And McKinsey and Company did an evaluation of our work in Uganda last year, and that was their big takeaway. The huge point of difference is actually having local people have this profound shift to their own capacity and their own ability to make a difference. And they looked at communities that we've been working in, hadn't worked in there for more than 10 years, and they thought they may have plateaued out and then kind of gone lower, but they'd actually gone from strength to strength because people kind of rekindle or get in touch with their own ability to shape the sort of world that they want to live in at a local level. And that really speaks through for Australians too, who feel that there's some way that we can actually impact the world that we live in rather than just be at the effect of it. And we have an exit strategy. We only in areas for 5 or so years, and then people are self-reliant. We work mainly with women, and we work in the whole area of food security. We work in all the areas that affect hunger, not just picking a niche like water or education.
That's great. This next one's quite a general question. Can you speak about your experiences overseas, being involved in the Hunger Project's work in places? I mean, I saw you've been in Africa and South Asia.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Perth girl originally, and I ended up in Ethiopia when I was 28 and I had a young family. And that was my first step on a journey that has seen me spend a lot of time in Africa and particularly a lot of time in South Asia. And I'm always really moved at how extraordinary all human beings are, particularly people living in conditions of hunger and poverty, how they're able to tap into their own fortitude and courage to just what it takes to get up every day in the morning to try and feed yourself and your family is just a heroic endeavour. And although our approach is different in all the different countries that we work in, that human spirit that resonates within us is true everywhere. And I say that in the kind of like we're not a religious organisation or we're not religious, but human spirit is really about that ability for us to create our lives and to be of service and contribution.
Great. Next one's about women. So why does the Hunger Project place so much emphasis on working with women?
Amazing. So I know viewers at home can't see this, but I'm talking to 3 men. It's definitely understood that women are the most affected. Women and girls are most affected from chronic hunger. They're married early, they're fed least and last, they're married off so they're married off early, they give birth to malnourished babies. So we know that women and young girls are most affected. But what's, I guess, less understood is that that marginalised woman that you see in that village could actually be the linchpin, the key for unlocking the capacity of the whole community. And that's what I've seen time and time again. And so when we work with women, women actually set a different agenda for their families. They are spending the money that they earn on education and on food. And unfortunately, men do have a different agenda when they have economic choices. And women's is around improving the social conditions for all people that live there. So not only are women most affected, but women, you give them this much and they will just like take it and kind of widen it. And they're radical. They're women that we work with, when they're unleashed, they are the most radical women, just fierce mothers, literally, in most cases, who are really and they're courageous and they're heroic. I mean, women are being physically and sexually assaulted, they're being murdered. We heard an incident at the end of last year where we trained women leaders in India, and she was stopping, I probably spoke too much, but still got to her anyway. She was trying to bring water to a village because the community didn't have it. And this group of people were bringing in water but charging a really exorbitant price for it. And so her bringing water to the village in a legitimate way would have undercut their sort of racket that they had. And so they threatened her with her life to stop her activities, and she refused. And they ended up murdering her two youngest children to stop her from bringing water to a village, and she still brought water to that village. So that's the sort of courage and boldness and liberation that's happening on the planet, and it's so inspiring to be part of it. It's so not the picture that we get. We always think of hungry people starving and hanging around waiting to be helped. That could not be further from the truth, and that's why we work with women.
Wow. That sort of in some ways answers this other question, but I'll ask you anyway. What is your motivation for being involved in the Hunger Project Australia, a not-for-profit organisation?
My motivation is, when I went to Ethiopia, it was a really profound experience for me, and I just didn't feel that I could. It was pretty much a road to Damascus experience, but I could just come back to Perth and live my really great life. And I had a really great life, and I still do have a really great life. But so I became a volunteer leader in the organisation, and then after a period of time, went on staff. And I think one of my key motivations is one, there is a liberation rising and an awakening of the planet, and I really want to be part of it. I'm someone who loves to be. If I'd have been alive in the 40s in India, I would have been part of Gandhi's Quit campaign. There's just something about, and I used to love punk music, so maybe there's part of the anarchist in it. Actually, I don't know, because all my business people weren't like that. So back to the question. It's also a matter of integrity. Like, we live in a planet that is just not all right with me, that 1.4 billion people can't feed themselves or their family. At no level is that all right with me. And through the Hunger Project, I'm clear that there's a way that we can actually do something about it. And so why wouldn't you do something about it? It's just, I understand people not doing something about it if they don't think they can do anything about it. If you can do something about it at whatever level, why wouldn't you? And so that's been my great choice and great joy to. Robert Frost had that great poem about the road, fork in the road and the road less travelled, and I've definitely taken the road less travelled, and I've just had an amazing time doing that.
That's great. That's everything I wanted.
Right, so you have to edit out. So I didn't swear in it to guys because I can be a terrible. It's also the attitude. I can be a terrible swearer actually. I did a presentation.
I'm quite intrigued now.
For my kids at their Steiner school, and I swore in it.
What did you say?
You're not still filming, are you?
What did you say?
This is the outtakes, is it?